Hi guys! Today I'm going to show you how to make Trini style corn soup. So for that, you're going to need the following ingredients. Remember to check the description box below and you will see the list of ingredients with all their proper measurements. Firstly, for the soup base, we're going to need the following ingredients. Some split peas, cream style corn, a can of sweet kernel corn, a pack of vegetable soup, and your instant coconut milk powder, or you could put fresh coconut milk if you have. That is the base for your soup. For the dumplings, you're going to need some all-purpose flour, corn flour or cornmeal, baking powder, salt, some water, and a touch of oil. For the rest of the soup, you're going to need some corn cut into about 1-inch size pieces. Canadian corn cooks faster and it's a little bit sweeter, so this is what I try to get if I'm going to make corn soup. Some complete seasoning, white pepper powder, some chopped bandania, some onion, some garlic, some chive, some chopped potatoes and sweet potatoes. You can play around with the provisions if you like. Some chopped carrots, some chopped pumpkin, some chopped pimentoes. You're going to need a piece of hot pepper and some golden ray for flavor. Salt to taste and water. First thing first, you're gonna get your dal boiling. So I'm turning on my heat. It's good to get a deep, wide iron pot that you could do everything in here one time. I have rinsed and drained my split peas and I'm adding in this now to the pot with some water. We're gonna burst the peas as if you're making dal, some of our onions, some of our garlic, and let this come to a boil. While we're waiting for the dal to come to a boil, let's knead our dumpling dough. For dough, you can knead this by hand. It doesn't take very long. We add in, I'm leaving back some of this flour just in case the dough gets too sticky. So we have our flour, or cornmeal or corn flour, salt, and our baking powder. We're giving this just a little mix to get all those dry ingredients properly combined. And we'll make a well in the center and add our water. I'm not adding in all, and you start making it come together. Just swirl your hand around in an anti-clockwise direction. And when it comes together, just try to get some of that dry flour into that moist area. Clean your sides of your bowl. And just start to knead. Around and bring it to the middle. Around, bring it to the middle. We're starting to see here, I'm feeling that it still needs a little bit of water. So we go in with a few drops again. And you don't want to add too much water too soon, because to compensate, you will need to keep adding dry flour. And then you may end up with way too much dough. So pull and top to the middle. We will need this for just 2 minutes. And leave it to rest until we're ready for it. So I just sprinkled in a little more dry flour, and this looks just right. So I'm just tucking the sides under like this, and this is just about done. All we have to do now is just pat some vegetable oil on top of here to keep it nice and moist, and we will cover this and set this aside until we're ready for this. Our dal has finally come to a boil, but this is still kind of hard, and the timing with dal is never exact, so it's never the same. Some people say it boils fast, Some people it takes longer. I haven't had much experience with quick boiling dal. So usually to speed it up, I would sprinkle in a little bit of baking powder. And baking powder helps it to burst quickly. Or local terms is burst the dal. And leave this uncovered. Slow the heat till maybe medium. This should help it get soft faster because we want these grains here to break up. Well, that looks like it's just at the point now where it's gonna start breaking up. Some of it has melted. And to further speed this along, I'm going to use my hand blender and just make this a little more melted. I'm just aiding this process to speed up. We're just giving this a little pulse. So look at this now. We still have a few solids in there, but by the time we're finished making the soup, this will all melt. And now I'm going to add all our base ingredients. In goes our soup mix, our coconut powder, corn kernels, and our cream style corn. All of this together and just add about 2 cups of water to this to let this come to a boil. But you just want to give it a stir to break up all the particles of the pack soup and the coconut milk powder. And for the extra flavor, I'm going to put in some of our complete seasoning. Our base is boiling away now, and this is just right now. We're going to throw in our pepper, our onions, all of our onions, the rest of our garlic, some branches of fine thyme, and half of our chopped chive. This is the point where we're going to add in our corn to start boiling. We are going to wait for the water to come back up to a boil again, and then we'll add in our potatoes. What is very important to note here is we don't add in all our provisions and vegetables at the same time to cook, because if we put in our carrots and our potatoes at the same time, the carrots will overcook and they will just melt out and disappear. So we are going to add them by the longest cooking ingredient first and build as we go along. Our corn has been boiling away for the last 2 minutes. And like I said before, this corn cooks really quickly, this type of corn. So now I'm going in with my potatoes. Another 2 minutes has gone by and now I'm adding in our sweet potatoes. I had a little more sweet potatoes than potatoes on hand, but you can play around with the amount. Give this a stir. And at this point I'm going to cover it and let it boil for another 10 minutes before I add in our carrots and pumpkin. Our provisions have been in here for the last 5 minutes, and I covered the pot and reduced the heat. And look how thick this is. I'm going to add some water to this. Carrots, no pumpkin. I'm turning the heat back up to medium. I'm going to add in half of our pimentoes and half of our banana at this point. We're gonna let this boil for a further 5 to 10 minutes. I'll check on it in 5, and if not, I'll leave it for 5 minutes further before we add in our dumplings. We're almost done. The longest part of the soup making process is for the dal to burst. I'm just gonna check on our soup. It's been boiling with the carrot and the pumpkin for the last 8 minutes. So now I'm just gonna add in our dumplings, roll in our dumplings and put them in. I've rolled out my dumpling about 1/4 of an inch thick, and then I just cut them out into little squares like this. So as you can see, And you want to cut them or roll them. You can hand roll them as well, really small, because they will swell up when they start boiling. You just want to add them quickly and try to put them apart so they won't stick up. At this point, if the soup looks thick, you could add some more water because it's going to continue to boil. All our dumpling has been added in. I'm going to add a little more water. Cover this and let this boil for a further 5 minutes before we add our final seasonings and turn the pot off. Be sure to give this a good turn so the dumplings don't stick together. They'll stay separated. Our dumplings should be about cooked now. And I'm adding in our salted butter or golden ray. Let's make sure that melts properly, and then you can taste to see if you need any additional salt. And the last thing I have to do here now is add in the rest of our pimentoes. Our bandana and our side. If you're not a fan of high seasoning, you can omit that or reduce the amount you put. And I'm now turning this off, and I'm going to cover this and leave it for 10 minutes before serving, just to get the flavor of those fresh seasonings that we just added in to steam into the pot. So we have our completed corn soup, and I do hope you enjoy this recipe as much as we do. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe,